Hey everyone, welcome to Say It Real.
where we believe fluency starts with real conversations, just like this one.
Hey, welcome back to Say It Real, the podcast where real conversations help you build real fluency. I'm so glad you're here with us today, wherever you're listening from.
And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. You picked a great episode to start with because today's topic, it's one of the biggest questions we get from listeners. How do I stop translating in my head? How do I actually start thinking in English?
Yeah, this one comes up constantly. And honestly, it's one of my favorite things to talk about because it gets right to the heart of what fluency actually is. It's not just about knowing words, it's about how your brain processes a language.
Exactly. And before we dive in, just a quick note on level. This episode is aimed at B1 to B2 learners, so upper intermediate. But if you're a solid intermediate, don't worry, you can absolutely follow along. You don't need to catch every single word to benefit.
Right. Think of it like sitting at the next table in a cafe and listening in on our conversation. You're picking up the language naturally as you go. And that's kind of the whole point of this podcast, right?
That's the whole point. Real conversations, real English, not textbook stuff. And at the end of today's episode, we'll do our word tour. We'll slow down and go through some of the trickier vocabulary we used so you can really lock it in.
I love the word tour. Okay, so let's get into it. Thinking in English. Why is it so hard? Like, genuinely, why does our brain resist it so much?
Well, okay, so I remember when I was learning, I'd be in a conversation and there was this awful delay, like a lag almost, like bad Wi-Fi in your brain.
Oh, that's such a good way to describe it. Say more.
So someone would say something in English, right? And my brain would take that English, translate it into my native language so I could understand it. Then I'd think of what I wanted to say in my native language, and then I'd have to translate that back into English before speaking. And all of that was happening in real time.
That sounds absolutely exhausting.
It was. By the end of a conversation, I felt like I'd run a marathon, and I hadn't even said that much.
Yeah, a lot of our listeners are going to relate to that feeling, that mental fatigue. It's not just that speaking a language is tiring, it's that you're running a whole translation operation in your head at the same time.
Translation headquarters with a very stressed out team working overtime.
Right, exactly. So what's actually going on in the brain when this happens?
So I'm no neuroscientist, but basically every time we translate, we're taking the long route. Like imagine you're driving across a city and instead of going straight, you have to detour through 3 other neighborhoods first.
The scenic route through translation town.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. And the goal, the whole dream of thinking in English is to cut out that detour entirely, to go directly from thought to English, from English to understanding. No middleman.
A direct line. No translator sitting in the middle doing overtime.
Exactly. And here's the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. Your brain is actually incredibly good at building these direct connections. It's literally designed to do this. It just needs 2 things, permission and practice.
Ooh, permission. That's an interesting word to use. Say more about the permission part.
Well, so many learners are waiting. They're thinking, okay, when I reach a certain level, then I'll start thinking in English. When my grammar's good enough, when my vocabulary's big enough. But that moment never comes because it's kind of a myth.
Right. There's no magical threshold where your brain suddenly switches over.
Exactly. You can start thinking in English right now, at any level. Even basic thoughts count. I'm hungry. I want coffee. This is boring. These are English thoughts.
And that's honestly how children learn, right? Nobody expects a 2-year-old to think in perfect sentences before they start using language.
Not at all. And there's another layer to this that I think is really important, the emotional side. Your native language isn't just grammar and vocabulary. It's your whole life. It's jokes with your family. It's how your parents comforted you when you were small. It's memory and feeling and identity.
And English doesn't have any of that yet, so it can feel cold, almost clinical.
Like a language you use, not a language you live in.
Exactly. So part of learning to think in English is actually about building those emotional connections, making English feel like home, not like a hotel you're passing through.
That metaphor is so good. Because when you're in a hotel, everything feels slightly unfamiliar. You're careful, you don't fully relax, but when you're home,
You just exist. You don't think about it.
right, So if you're listening right now and you still translate everything and you're frustrated about it, please hear this. You are not broken. You are not bad at languages. You're just building a new home. And that takes time.
And there are things you can do to speed up the process, real practical strategies. That's what we're going to spend most of this episode on.
But before we get to the strategies, I want to talk about mindset for just a minute, because I think this is where a lot of people get stuck before they even try.
Oh, here comes the mindset talk.
No, genuinely hear me out. This is important.
Okay, I'm listening. Go ahead.
So, a lot of learners approach thinking in English with this very perfectionist attitude. They want their internal thoughts to be correct, grammatically perfect, properly structured, and that's the trap.
Because when you think in your own native language, is it perfect?
Absolutely not. My thoughts are fragments, half sentences, random images, sometimes just a mood and a color, not an articulate statement.
Right. So why would we hold our English thoughts to a higher standard than our native language thoughts? It's like we give our native brain a total free pass and then put our English brain through a grammar exam.
That double standard is real, and it's exhausting.
So, mindset shift number one, messy thoughts are okay. More than okay, actually. Messy thoughts are a sign that you're thinking naturally, not translating.
What's the second mindset shift?
Give yourself permission to be wrong in your own head, because sometimes you're thinking in English and then suddenly, wait, is that right? Is that the correct word? Did I use that phrase correctly? And then you've lost the thought completely.
Which is counterproductive because you stopped in order to be correct and ended up saying nothing.
Exactly. So the shift is this. Your internal English practice is a judgment-free zone. No grades, no red pen. Just you exploring the language.
I love that. The judgment-free zone. It's almost like a mental playground.
Yes, that's exactly it. Play, experiment, try things. And if something doesn't work, you didn't fail, you just gathered information. Oh, interesting. That phrase didn't feel right. Let me try a different one next time.
Treat it like a scientist running experiments, not a student taking a test.
Yes. And maybe some of you listening can try this right now. Think your next thought in English, whatever it is. Not perfectly, just try. It might be, this is interesting, or I'm on the bus, or my coffee's cold. Any thought. Give it a go.
And if you translated it first and then switched to English, that still counts. You did it. Baby steps.
Baby steps, always. Okay, let's get into actual strategies. Strategy number one is my absolute favorite. I call it narrating your life.
Like you're the voiceover in your own documentary.
Exactly. Or imagine you have a very calm, very thoughtful narrator following you around, describing everything you do in English.
That's slightly unsettling, but I see the vision.
So the idea is simple. As you go through your day, you describe what's happening in English, inside your head. Right now, for example, you might be thinking, I'm listening to a podcast. The hosts are talking about English. I'm on the train. Someone next to me is eating something that smells like onions.
It sounds so simple. Can it actually work?
It's incredibly effective because you're not translating. You're linking English directly to the experience. You're not thinking walk means whatever it means in your language. You're just thinking walk while walking. The word and the action become one thing.
You're encoding the language through real life instead of through a dictionary.
Perfectly put. And you can start incredibly small. Your morning routine, brushing my teeth. The toothpaste is minty. I need more coffee. And then you gradually level it up.
Right. First, you get the basics. I'm making coffee, the water's boiling. Then you add opinions. I love this part of the morning. This is the best smell in the world. And then you go deeper. This old mocha pot was my grandmother's. I think of her every time I use it.
And now you're processing real emotions in English. You're not just describing surface-level actions. You're living in the language.
And nobody even knows you're doing it. You're secretly practicing English all day long in the supermarket, on your commute, while you're cooking dinner. It's completely invisible.
Which also means there's no pressure. Nobody's judging you. Nobody's waiting for a response. It's just you and the language, building something together.
So the challenge for today, just pick one routine. One, maybe your commute, maybe your morning coffee, maybe getting ready for bed tonight, and narrate it in English. Out loud if you're alone, silently if you're around other people.
And if you don't know a word, describe it. the thing you use to open cans, the small, sharp thing in the kitchen. Just keep the flow going in English. The flow matters more than the vocabulary.
The flow is always more important than perfection. You keep saying that, and I keep agreeing with it every time.
Good, because it's true. Okay, strategy number 2 is a bit different. It's about how you actually store words in your brain.
The mental filing system.
Exactly. So, most learners, when they learn a new word, they create a translation pair. Dog equals whatever dog is in their language. Cat equals something else. And that's fine for getting started, but it keeps you stuck in translation mode.
Because every English word has a native language word attached to it like a little anchor, dragging it back.
Right. So the goal is to cut those anchors, to connect English words directly to images, feelings, sensations, memories, not to other words.
So instead of dog equals word, you just picture a dog. You hear barking, you feel fur, you remember a dog you knew as a kid.
Exactly. That's how children learn. A toddler doesn't learn dog equals the word in their language. They learn dog is that loud, fluffy, tail wagging creature over there.
So, how do we do this as adults? Because we've already built all those translation pairs. How do we rewire?
One technique that works really well is what I call the visualization technique. When you learn a new word, instead of just writing down the translation, stop, close your eyes, create a vivid mental image.
Like method acting for vocabulary.
Yes, let's try one right now. The word is exhausted. Instead of thinking exhausted means very tired, picture yourself exhausted. Really feel it. You're collapsed on the sofa, your eyelids are heavy, your arms feel like they're made of stone. You can barely lift your hand to reach your phone.
And now that word has a physical feeling attached to it, not just a translation.
Right. So next time you're genuinely exhausted, that English word might just surface naturally without translation.
It works especially well for emotional words: frustrated, overwhelmed, relieved, peaceful. These are words you can feel in your body.
Totally. Another technique is building an English association chain. Instead of translating a word, you connect it to other English words you already know.
So it becomes part of a web of meaning, not an isolated word with a translation label.
Exactly. So if you're learning soaking wet, you might think rain, umbrella, dripping, cold, need to change clothes, ugh, I hate this feeling, all in English. Now soaking wet lives inside an English network.
I love that. It's like you're building neighborhoods in your brain, and every new word is a new building on an existing street.
And here's a slightly weird one that actually works. Talk to the objects around you.
Go on.
Like when you see your keys on the table, don't just think keys. Add a little comment. Oh, there are my keys. I always put them in a different place. Someday I'll lose them for good.
You're turning your whole environment into an English conversation partner.
Exactly. Your coffee mug, your shoes, the window you look out of in the morning, start giving them English commentary. It sounds silly, but it creates constant micro moments of English use throughout the day.
And over time, those micro moments stack up, and English starts to feel like the default, not the effort.
Strategy number 3. This is the one I give to almost everyone who asks me how to improve fluency fast, the solo monologue.
Talking to yourself.
Yes, but strategically. Set aside 5 minutes, just 5, and talk out loud in English about anything.
Out loud is the key part, though, right? Not just in your head.
Yes, because speaking out loud adds another dimension. You hear yourself. Your brain takes it more seriously when you use your voice. It's not abstract anymore.
So, what do you actually talk about?
Anything. Your day, a film you watched, something that irritated you, a memory that came up for no reason. The goal isn't eloquence, it's flow. Keep talking even when you don't know a word.
Describe it. Gesture at it. Make something up if you have to. The worst thing you can do is stop, because stopping breaks the flow, and the flow is exactly what we're training.
Think of it like a river. The water doesn't stop because it hits a rock. It finds a way around.
I love that. And honestly, even if what you're saying is a bit nonsense, I woke up today and did things, various things. The sky was sky colored. It doesn't matter. You're staying in English. You're finding ways around gaps.
Your brain is learning to navigate in English without a life jacket.
And here's a variation that's incredibly useful. I call it the explanation game. Pick an everyday object and explain what it is without using its name.
Oh, that's actually hard. Let's try one. A chair.
Okay, it's a thing you sit on. It usually has four legs. It has a back to support your spine. You find it in homes, offices, restaurants, basically anywhere people need to rest.
You just described a chair without saying chair once. And in a real conversation, that skill, working around a gap in your vocabulary, is everything.
Because you can always communicate something. You might not know the exact word, but if you can describe it, you can get your meaning across.
And it forces creative thinking in English, higher level mental processing. Another version is to teach something in English to an imaginary person. Explain how to make pasta, how to set up your phone, why you love a certain book or film.
Teaching organizes your thoughts. You have to use logical connectors. First, then, after that. The reason this matters is, and that's sophisticated English thinking.
And 5 minutes a day is enough, genuinely. 5 consistent minutes beats one big hour-long session once a week, because you're building a habit, not doing a special event.
Okay, let's talk about what happens when it all goes wrong, when you hit a wall.
The mental block. Yes, this is so real.
You're trying to think in English and suddenly nothing. Your brain goes completely blank. It's like someone turned off the lights.
I think every learner experiences this, especially when you're tired or stressed. And the first thing I want to say is don't panic and don't judge yourself.
It's not inability, it's usually fear or fatigue. Your brain is not failing, it's protecting you. Speaking in a non-native language feels vulnerable, so sometimes your brain just shuts the door for a moment.
So what do you do when that happens?
Lower the stakes immediately. If you were trying to think complex thoughts, go back to simple. I see a tree, the tree is big, the sky is blue. Caveman English, no shame.
Because often, once you relax, the more complex language comes back on its own. The block was anxiety, not inability.
Also, move your body. Stand up, walk around. The brain and body are connected, and sometimes you need physical movement to unlock mental movement.
And if you're stuck on one word, just skip it. Put in a placeholder, that thing, the thing, and keep going. In real conversations, fluent speakers do this constantly.
We do. Nobody talks in perfect, complete sentences all the time. Gaps, stumbles, workarounds, those are all part of natural speech.
And finally, if you've been using English intensively all day and you just can't anymore, rest. Translation and active L2 thinking genuinely use more brain energy than native language thought. Your brain gets tired. That's allowed.
You don't have to think in English 24 hours a day to make progress.
Right. Progress comes from consistency, not from exhausting yourself. Okay, last big section. Let's talk about your environment.
Because you can design your physical life to support English thinking, even without moving to an English-speaking country.
The classic advice, which genuinely works, change your phone language to English. Suddenly, everything you tap, every notification, every menu is in English. It's confusing for about 3 days, and then it becomes normal.
And you're reading English dozens of times a day without it feeling like study.
Then sticky notes around your house, but not just vocabulary words. Make them interactive. What are you grateful for today? Did you drink enough water? What's one thing you're looking forward to?
So you're engaging with English, not just displaying it.
Follow social media accounts that post in English about your actual interests, cooking, gaming, fitness, travel, whatever you love, because suddenly English stops being a subject and starts being the language of things you actually care about.
That shift, English becoming relevant to your real life, is huge because the brain pays attention to things that matter to us.
And on the content side, movies and series in English with English subtitles, not your native language. Because when your language appears on screen, your brain automatically reads it, and English becomes background noise.
With English subtitles, you're matching the sounds to the words, building that direct audio to meaning connection.
All right, word tour time. Let's slow things down and revisit some of the vocabulary we used today. Grab a notebook if you have one nearby.
First up, eavesdrop. To eavesdrop means to secretly listen to someone else's conversation. You're not invited, you're just listening in. I was eavesdropping on the people at the next table. Or, sorry, I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I heard you say my name.
Next, mental pathways. This is the idea that thinking and doing things repeatedly creates connections in your brain, like roads. The more you use a pathway, the faster and stronger it becomes. Learning to think in English is about building new mental pathways.
Bypass. To bypass something means to skip it, to go around it, to avoid the normal route. We bypass the traffic by taking the side road. Or the goal is to bypass translation entirely and think directly in English.
Arbitrary. Something arbitrary has no real logic or reason behind it. It's random. The deadline feels totally arbitrary. Or don't wait for some arbitrary moment to feel ready. Start now.
Fragment. A fragment is a small broken piece of something. In language, it's an incomplete sentence or thought. My thoughts before coffee are just fragments. And remember, fragments in your internal English practice are completely fine.
Judgment-free zone. A space where no one criticizes you, where it's safe to be imperfect. This practice space is your judgment-free zone. No grammar police, no internal critic.
Soundtrack. The audio or music that accompanies something, a film, a moment, a life. We used it metaphorically. The English narration in your head becomes the soundtrack of your daily experience.
Vivid. Clear, detailed, bright, strong. A vivid memory is one you can almost see. A vivid image is sharp and full. Create vivid mental images when you learn new words. It locks them in.
Eloquence. The ability to speak beautifully, clearly, and persuasively. An eloquent speaker chooses words well and expresses ideas smoothly. And remember what we said, the goal isn't eloquence, it's fluency. Keep talking even when it's not elegant.
Derail. To knock something off track, like a train leaving the rails. Don't let one missing word derail your whole thought, or the interruption completely derailed the conversation.
Placeholder. Something temporary that fills a space until you find the real thing. Use a placeholder word when you can't remember the exact term. That thing, the what's it, and keep going.
And absorb. To absorb means to take something in, like a sponge. We absorb information, we absorb a language, we absorb an atmosphere. Children absorb language naturally, and the more you immerse yourself in English, the more your brain absorbs its patterns without you even trying.
Those are the key words from today. You don't need to memorize all of them at once. Even if 2 or 3 stick with you, that is progress. That is real, genuine progress.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. We talked a lot today. Thinking in English isn't about perfection. It's about practice, patience, and permission.
Start with the mindset. Messy thoughts are fine. Your internal English is a judgment-free zone. Treat it like an experiment, not a test.
Then narrate your life. Give your daily experience an English soundtrack. Start simple. Build gradually. Go deeper when you're ready.
Connect words to images and feelings, not just translations. Build English networks in your brain, not translation pairs.
Do your solo monologue. 5 minutes. Out loud. Keep the flow going no matter what.
When you hit mental blocks, go simple. Lower the pressure. Move your body. Use placeholders. Rest when you need to.
And design your environment. Your phone, your feed, your space. Let English live there naturally.
The key is consistency, not intensity. 5 minutes every day will reshape your brain over time. But it takes time, and you have to be kind to yourself in that process.
Yeah, learning to think in a different language is genuinely one of the hardest cognitive things a person can do. It deserves respect. Your effort deserves respect.
So celebrate the small wins. The first thought you have in English without translating. The first moment a word just appears in English naturally. Those are real milestones. Notice them.
And for your homework tonight, just one thing. Before you go to sleep, narrate your evening routine in English, silently, in your head. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm turning off the light. I'm getting into bed. The sheets are cold. I'm tired, but it was a good day.
Super simple, but you're laying one more brick, and tomorrow you lay another one. And eventually, without noticing exactly when it happened, you'll realize you've built something real.
That's a beautiful place to land. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. This is Sky and Nate from Say It Real, and we will see you in the next one.